on that, Eli, I want to hear your thoughts on storytelling, because throughout even like this episode, I've watched countless of your podcasts. You're very good at captivating someone in, right, and holding that moment. What is a good story made out of? How does that come in? How do you captivate someone like that?
Well, typically, in this, we have a story selling system, but there's like a theme, a conflict. There's a lot of elements to it, but a change of direction or a principle. There's like this journey of achievement, the journey of transformation. So there's a lot of elements. And, I was just going through some story stuff where we have an ad going right now to our story selling system. It's like a $3 thing and we upsell people. You know, I, I think just being around somebody's, and also I love movies. I'm watching less of them. It's interesting too with what's happened in the world. I don't feel as compelled to watch TV or movies. It's interesting, throughout my childhood, like actors and movie stars, always really big. Entrepreneurs are the new movie
Huge,
stars. It's like
massively.
Alex Hermosi, it's Tony Robbins, it's Elon Musk. Like they're the new movie stars. So it's kind of interesting, and I freaking love it. But even an entrepreneur, versus the movie, it's the capacity to tell stories. And I love this quote, this ism from Joe Rogan. He's like, be the hero of your own movie. And most people aren't. And as it relates to you, or let's say me, the entrepreneur we're talking about now, if you watch a movie and you connect with the main character, you like the movie. If you don't connect with the main character, you're not connected to the movie.
They don't care.
I tell a lot of stories because if people can connect with me, and it could be a man, a woman, a person, whatever, a lot of them connect with me. And so they like the story and they're kind of rooting for you. And so being that attractive character, being somebody that's overcome conflict and having like principles is really, really important. And you can come up with these little stories and we piece these together. We're working on some software, some AI stuff to help us like extract stuff from people, put it into some of the stories with our frameworks. But it's interesting. I used to always open up my events like this. I'd say, right with a story. So my dad's 5 years old, and his dad got a brand new car. And he comes home and he's showing off the car and he's like really, really excited about it. That same day, my dad's outside the house and they have this kind of like this plastic siding all over the wall or all over the house, like on the outside. And it's got mud just caked all in it. And so my dad's out there scrubbing the wall, being a good little boy. He's scrubbing down the wall, scrubbing down the wall. And his dad says, no, 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 you don't have to, you don't have to scrub so, you don't have to work so hard. I have an easier way. I have something I'm going to give you, going to change everything for you. Just watch me. Takes the hammer and he taps on the wall and the mud just falls off. Tap, 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 falls away. Tap, tap, falls away. And my dad's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And he's just all around the house, tap, 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 tap. And he just cleans the entire house and he's just being a good little boy. He's like, this is amazing. Fast forward a week. His dad, my grandfather, drives home and that brand new car I mentioned, it's got mud on it. My dad, being this good little boy, sees that mud all over the car, tap, tap on the rims, tap, tap on the wheel, tap, tap on the bumper, tap, tap all over the car. He runs inside and says, Dad, Dad, I just cleaned your car. It's like, it's brand new. It looks shiny. It's so great. Reluctantly, my grandfather walks outside and sees his brand new car with about 10,000 tiny little dents in it. And so why do I tell you that story? I tell you the story for this reason. My dad, his heart was in the right place. And just like you, your heart's in the right place. I know you want to do good by people. I know you want to make a difference in the world. But when it comes to selling, when it comes to really making a difference, sometimes you just don't have the right tools for the job. Today's all about finding the tools of persuasion so you can go out there and do what you were designed to do. So it's like story, and you kind of lost in the story, and then a point, and then a hook. And so you'll notice a theme or a pattern. And I do this all the time when I'm speaking. So there's something in NLP called a referential index. So right now there's basically three entities. There's you, there's me, and there's other people. And so I can do a lot with they. Oh, what did they say? I can create an enemy. Or I can also bond us with we. I, you, we, they. So there's really four entities here. Like we, and when I say we, that could be ambiguous. We as coaches, we together, we as an organization, we the people. So there's a lot I can play with, But even as I'm telling stories about myself, there's the hook. It goes I, we, you. I really struggled in my life, this. And I think we all do. We all have times where we're not getting what we want, but here's what you need to realize. You're worth it. And if you keep on pushing, you can change your life. So personal, vulnerable, you're getting connected to me. General, universal principles, we all. Where now people can't have oh, that's for him. We all. All people starting out go through some struggle. We can't deny that. But here's what you need to realize. See the setup. So there's dozens of these frames, these frameworks that I'm unconsciously speaking through, and I'm conscious of the unconscious now at this point because we teach this stuff. But these are the elements. And even when people are great storytellers or great speakers, when we look at their stuff, even some big clients that we're working with, we look for these refinements, and they're like, oh, my story's not connecting. Well, I'm like, here's why. And they're like, oh, or, people aren't moving at the end. I'm like, yeah, here's why. And I'm like, okay. And so that's all we study, me, and Chase is really good at this too. Chase Hughes, he sees things too. And so we go back and forth on it. And my business partner, Eli, one of the best I've seen, and he reviews my stuff because I do it. And then he helps me review my stuff and like, oh, okay, I missed that. And then we make it better, make it better, make it better. So that's just the process.
Can you give an example of someone that you've worked with recently where you did, their story wasn't landing, their story wasn't hitting, and it was the tweak? Can you talk about like the tweak that you made so it did land? I'd love to.
Yeah, it's a person. She's relatively famous, but she's who came to mind. And she has a story about going to like a girl's home, and it was like really, this really bad experience. And to be more general, not just about her, a lot of people tell these stories about being raped or these horrible things that happen in their life. And the audience might be like, oh, that's really sad. But I'm like, that doesn't move the sale. A key distinction that anybody who's telling stories and stuff like that, like you'll have this pit moment or this bad thing happen to you. And everybody's heard, and I hate to, I'm going to sound like such a dick saying this. People like, it's like, even people like will talk about their rape. And it's still like, I'm like, but people don't care, or they just feel bad for you. And some people, the speakers, they want people to feel bad for them. Like, yeah, it's just, that's not the thing. Like some people's story, they're just all fucked up. And I can see why they're telling the story. I'm like, you need to process that. And the way they told, like, even if they do care about your rape or they empathize, it's like, you need to relate that to the audience. And so the key, and everybody's like, I lived in, I was homeless, or I lived in my car. Like a lot of these stories, people have just heard too much too. Like I've said this to people too. I'm like, yeah, it's just like, story's not vanilla, but it's like, yeah, the story's been told. But I can change enough in it. It can be the same, but I can change some things in it where now it's unique. And so a lot of people just have these, and I can tell people are, I don't want to say people are lying. That's why I won't say people's names. Some people I'm just like, yeah, I can see where you embellished, or there's some contextual ambiguity there where you lack details for a reason. Not to say that people are lying, though a lot of people do lie in their story. But the principle is this, and what I gave this woman, and what I give a lot of your listeners here, is to make sure that there's going to be some pit moment. You need to be able to relate your pit moment to the audience's current experience. So so some people are like, oh, I was millions of dollars in debt or whatever, and you got a bunch of millionaires. They're like, yeah, they might connect with it. So, I was really down place in my life. And then I do something in my pit moment called a bounce. I pull your current experience in there. So it might sound something like this. I was really down, or this person said to me, Eli, you'll never make it. And I don't know if anybody's ever told you that you're not good enough, or you've had anybody that you really cared about doubt you and didn't believe in you 1,000%. But there I was, and I knew something had to change. So I'm going to pull you into these moments, and I'm going to find a universal connection point in my pain, and I'm going to find a way to connect, again, my pit moment to your current experience. So it might sound like this. Well, I was doing really well in my life, but I had this moment where just everything began to fall away. And I think what created that was deep down, it's like, that you're not fully living up to your full potential. You're listening to podcasts right now, you're watching videos, but deep down, you're not doing the thing that you need to do. You're a bit distracted. You're looking outside of yourself for inspiration because you've not truly found that within yourself. And so I might speak right to my audience,
Yeah.
like and I'm taking what I pick up, and if I have a live audience, I can look at people and I can get I have a lot of, I have a good bit of empathy, I should say. I don't want to brag on my empathy, but I've done 4,000 seminars, and I can look at people and I can get a feeling, and also some of it based on hypnosis. I'm being ambiguous, but people are like, man, I felt like you were talking to me. But sometimes I say things that I wouldn't usually say, or I say something that I've never said before. It's because I look at somebody and I kind of get a sense of their pain, and they're just like, yeah, you looked at me, and I kind of get a read on that person. I'm pretty aware if I have an audience or a webinar, it's like people that are consuming things, or maybe they're coming to an event, or they're coming to learn how to speak. Well, I know that there's some area of their life that's not perfect, and so I'll make some gross generalizations. But most of them are positive. People are awesome. People are worthy, and people want more of their life. But there's something holding them back. There's something they've not overcome, and some of that's also very vague. Everybody feels like that, a little bit too. And so I'm doing a good job of connecting these pit moments to people's current reality, and then they have buy-in. And I'm also associating some pain to their current experience that I'm going to expand on, that begins that process of opening them up to want to create change in the moment.